Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second draft.
So this time around, what we're going to do is we're going to drink craft beer, on the second draft while talking about the NFL draft.
Here on the second draft.
I said that already. Welcome back.
Let's start over.
Okay. So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first? Yeah. You talk first?
You Dameron. Go ahead.
Yeah. The old man gave you the map, didn't he?
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's what we do here on the second draft. We talk about football and we drink our craft beer. So Here we are. Cheers.
Drinking craft, talking draft on the second draft. Welcome back.
It's funny because that was awkward, but it was the best one that we've done so far.
It was pretty great, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Unintentionally so.
Yeah. So, just for the sake of time, we're not going to talk about all 32 picks.
Yeah, we can't.
I think we're pretty much going to go through maybe like the top 10 picks, our thoughts on those, and maybe some of the outliers after that fact. So if we missed your team, I apologize. If you're a fan of the Patriots, you guys didn't draft in the first round anyway. You guys didn't draft until the fifth round, so nobody cares. So, let's jump right into it, shall we?
Yeah. If I take a look at the top 10, what I'm most excited about, or what got me most jazzed about this draft in particular, was that we had a lot of defense in the first 10 picks.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah.
And I think it was 3 out of the top 10 were defensive players. Mm-hmm. And then there were 2 of the remaining, I guess, of the offensive players that were linemen. What that shows me is that the front offices are getting a little bit more keen on taking the players they actually need. I hope that's the case. I don't know. There are a couple outliers there that I think we can get into, but do you want to just go from the top down?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we just go from the top down.
Okay.
I just want to throw out there that I agree that I like this movement away from best athlete available, which I think is just complete horse shit.
Apart from one pick, I would say I fully agree with that. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see teams start taking players that they actually need for their roster, for what they need immediately right now. There's always going to be new talent. There's always going to be somebody that kind of fits the bill. Not entirely what you need necessarily, but maybe somebody that you didn't necessarily realize that you needed, a diamond in the rough, if you will. But there is one person, and I would have taken him first in the draft. He did not go first. The first pick was the Cleveland Browns, of course, with that perfect 0-16 season. They take Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, quarterback out of Oklahoma. I don't know why they did this. I am probably going to piss off a lot of people and say very bluntly that I feel like the majority of the quarterbacks that were highly rated in this draft were more or less interchangeable, and the Browns could have very easily taken a generational talent in Saquon Barkley, and then with the 4th round pick, also taken a potentially great quarterback as well. I don't know why they didn't take Saquon first overall. I
don't buy into mock drafts really, but if I were to have done one, and I guess I unintentionally did so just by speculating and having conversation, but Saquon Barkley was my first pick, and then I had obviously the Browns taking a quarterback immediately afterwards in the 4th pick.
Right.
When you have that much upfront maneuverability, why not get best available first off and then get one of the 5 or 6 interchangeable, almost not quite interchangeable, I won't go so far as to say that, but they're all decent quarterbacks, none of which are proven. You don't know who's going to wash out in the NFL,
right?
And you pick the one that seems to suit your offense the most, who has some familiarity with the changes that you want to make, with the style of offense that you run. And I don't know, Baker Mayfield seems like kind of your like cookie cutter Mario quarterback. I like him. I don't think he's I think he's a great player. I don't know how he's going to do in Cleveland.
That's going to be a very stressful environment for somebody who is a hothead.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I thought he was going to go to a different team. I actually anticipated him going to somebody like the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I think he would have been a better fit there, but we'll get to that later on. The Giants got a major steal with the 2nd pick. With, I think, the best player in this draft, Saquon Barkley, goes to the New York Giants. I'm sure he's hyped about that, not playing for the Browns.
Yeah. I'm sure he was sweating bullets up until the Cleveland Browns made that first pick. I'm super happy for Saquon Barkley. I'm happy for the Giants. They haven't had like a marquee running back in like 10, 15 years. It's been a really long time. I think the kid's going to be dynamite there if they use him correctly. I think it's going to be really solid for both parties. So, best pick of the draft by far.
They haven't had really running backs. I feel like that have stuck out in a big way since probably Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs kind of
Tiki
era.
Barber.
Tiki Barber
would probably be the last one, I think. Was it Tiki? It was Tiki, yeah.
So, I think a lot of people might give the Giants a little bit of a hard time for not taking a quarterback with all the Eli Manning hubbub, but I think this was a fantastic pick. I think that it was a steal.
Yeah.
So we move on from one New York team to the next New York team.
Mm-hmm.
Third pick is Sam Darnold,
USC
quarterback.
Yeah.
I think this is a good pick.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think Darnold's a good talent. Again, it's one of those situations where it's hard to see any of these quarterbacks doing particularly well in these unstable environments. The Jets have come a long way in the last couple of years, still not quite there. And clearly Sam Darnold, they're looking to him to be the face of the franchise going forward. I don't know. We'll see. I think he's good. Again, I don't think any of these quarterbacks were dynamite. I don't think we're looking at the next Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, which isn't fair to say because they both fell in their respective drafts. But I didn't see a Carson Wentz or a Jared Goff in this draft either. And I was actually quite high on both of those kids when they got drafted. So, I don't know, Jets, if you're smart and use them wisely, Sam Darnold could be a good talent. So, hope for the best.
He is, out of the, as we called him earlier, interchangeable quarterbacks, I think he is one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jets do a little bit better in the early season than we kind of anticipate. I feel like they kind of do that anyway.
Yeah.
Last year they did fairly well in the early season, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And then they got a little bit of steam with some wide receiver talent that we didn't really expect to see. But a lot of people are going to be talking about how Darnold doesn't have the talent around him he needs in order to be a rock solid breakout rookie. So.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Number 4 was the Cleveland Browns again. They could have had a quarterback, but this is still a great pick. Denzel Ward, cornerback from Ohio State. OH. Ward, I think, was definitely the best cornerback in the draft this time around, and we're not biased because we're Ohio State fans. He was great, and the Browns need a lot of things in a lot of different areas, and I mean, if you're going to go for your quarterback and hopefully create a new anchor for your offense, you may as well go ahead and create a new anchor for your defense while you're at it with the number 4 pick. Denzel Ward was an excellent draft pick for them. So.
Yeah, I think this shows confidence in their pass rushing with Myles Garrett,
Yeah.
I think it also, it shows some trust in what the talent that Ohio State is putting out.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, they need to find an anchor on defense. They need to find somewhere. They got a lot of holes in the ship.
Yeah.
And this is a big hole they're plugging up.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great pick. Next pick is probably my favorite in this entire draft.
Why is that?
That'd be because I'm a Denver Broncos fan. They had the 5th pick in the 2018 draft. They chose Bradley Chubb, defensive end. As we were walking, I was a little bit late to the draft, walking in, listening to it on the radio, and I was talking to your dad, and we were walking in, and he said, Broncos just took Chubb, and I said, I'm so excited. This is incredible.
Chubb he was killer in college. His combine performance was stellar too. Like, the kid is a monster. He's just going to eat quarterbacks alive. And it's going to be a really good division for him to do it in against the likes of the Chargers, who are falling by the wayside. Raiders are on the up and up if they can stay healthy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Chucky at the helm again.
He's versatile. He knows how to set the edge. He knows how to pass rush. He's got a lot of the things. I mean, I understand why he went in the top 5 in the NFL draft.
He was always. I thought maybe he was going to go top 3 or 4, honestly. But I mean, he was easily a top 10 talent. It would have been absurd if he had fallen past the top 10.
More than anything else, I think I'm excited just because I know that the Broncos play at such another echelon when their defense is strong.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it a couple years ago, Super Bowl 50. But
defense really carried that team all through the playoffs and through the Super Bowl. Yeah.
But now, if you think about the team that's there right now, like Von Miller was hyped when Bradley Chubb got picked.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason. They're already getting antsy.
Yeah.
So, pretty stoked.
Yeah. Quentin Nelson went next to the Indianapolis Colts. They got their trade from they got that pick from the New York Jets in a trade. I'm honestly quite jealous of the Colts, which feels weird to say. I think Quentin Nelson was, obviously, clearly, not just because he was drafted in the first round, and I'm playing off that, but he was easily the best offensive lineman in this draft.
Definitely.
Kid is a beast. So, yeah, I was kind of thinking that the Cardinals, when they got to the 15th pick, were just going to sit and wait and pick up an offensive lineman. I was kind of hoping that Quentin Nelson was going to fall, but that just wasn't the case. The kid's way too good. So, excellent pick. So, if Andrew Luck comes back...
He might not get killed this time.
He's got at least one really good body in front of him who's going to protect his ass. So,
yeah. I remember during the draft, I thought this was the most bizarre pick to me because they could have grabbed any number of more specialty players, like your would-be skill players. But I think this is a good pick for them.
Yeah,
they need a big wall, and why not start building that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up was Josh Allen. One of those quarterbacks, I keep harping on this, kind of interchangeable. Josh Allen had the whole controversy on Twitter where he was 14, 15 saying the N-word in his tweets, and somebody called him out on that 24 hours before the draft. It seems to happen every year where somebody pisses somebody off and somebody goes digging through their social media and finds something incriminating or damning and puts it out there.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to affect his draft stock too much. He went to the Bills. Again, it's another struggling franchise. It's looking to kind of instill or install the next face of their franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kid's got an arm. He's got a cannon for an arm. Actually, we talked about that in our combine video.
We did a long while back.
Bombing out 75-yard passes like it was nothing. We'll see if that translates into pro-ready talent. He showed a lot of greatness in Wyoming, so I think if the kid just settles down, and he seems like the type of kid who's just all about football. So I think he's going to be a sponge. He's going to absorb everything he can while he's in Buffalo for as long as he's there. And, I think he could be good. So.
Yeah, I think the Bills are one of the teams that I'm most impressed by with this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did really well in terms of picking up talent that they really needed.
Yeah.
Both on both sides of the ball. I mean, later on, Tremaine Edmonds is a fantastic pick. I think it's a little bit bizarre that he went a little later. He was 16th pick, so... I like what the Bills are doing. I don't know that it's going to be immediate change, but I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of excitement out of the Bills, because we've seen flashes of it here and there, but nothing that was really consistent and nothing that really stuck. So let's hope for something a little bit more. Yeah,
well, I mean, they made it to the playoffs last season for the first time in a really long time, and I felt like that was a good draft pick for them because he's probably going to be redshirted. I think he's not going to play this season. He's going to be a backup, but that's fine because he's going to be the next kid who's going to be ready to go. So, So yeah, I feel like they've got a good foundation, having made the playoffs last season, and I think that draft pick was them, kind of looking to keep momentum going in future seasons, so they don't really miss a beat. So, it's a good pick. So
yeah. So with the 8th pick, the Chicago Bears selected Raquan Smith, fresh out of Georgia, linebacker.
Yeah.
First of that position in the draft. I think it's about time we saw a linebacker out of the Bears. It's been a while. I think people are really missing Urlacher, and I don't really know that we've seen a linebacker in Chicago that's really stacked up there. This guy's a big talent. He's big and he's fast and he hits hard.
This is I think low key one of the better picks in the top 20. Clearly the Bears aren't in the quarterback game this time around. They've got Mitch Trubisky. A lot of people are thinking maybe wide receiver, maybe running back, something like that, a little more flashy. No, I think it's a really smart idea to reinforce and power up that defense because they're in the division with Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings, who they're going to be rocking Kirk Cousins. So, I think it was a really good pick for them to go linebacker. So
definitely.
And again, like you said, Roquan Smith is insanely talented. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. He wasn't, because he's a linebacker. He isn't one of those kids that made a big splash, but he's still one of those kids that was really high in everybody's draft boards. They're big boards in their war rooms. So
if he's available, take him.
Right, and it's not like a best athlete available type situation. He's really that good, and he fills a hole that the Bears needed to fill.
A lot of teams really needed to fill, and I'm sure if you take a look at picks 9 down through 25, they were all probably looking at him saying, I hope he stays.
Yeah.
Because we don't get another linebacker until Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah.
And we just talked about it. Bills took him up. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so if you were before the draft to say what did you think the 49ers needed, what would you say?
Yes.
A lot of answers would apply, but considering the moves that they made in the middle of the season,
Wide receiver.
I agree with that. I would have said wide receiver, offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And that's what they ended up doing. They took
Mike McGlinchey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, another low-key, super talented guy. Offensive tackle from Notre Dame. Niners are hopefully on the upswing. They won, the last 5 games of the season last year.
Yeah.
Still a lot of issues with that team, though. Offensive line protecting Jimmy G is a really good idea. Kid's a great talent. I think he's going to shore up some cracks in that offensive line.
And just momentum. Like, the team needed some heat. They needed some morale.
Yeah.
And I think Garoppolo really handed that to them.
Yeah.
Like,
keep that kid healthy.
On a silver platter, like, keep him healthy, yeah, keep him fit.
Give him time in the pocket to do his stuff, too.
I think this guy is Matt Ryan's cousin, fun fact.
Really?
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Mike McGlinchey is Matt Ryan's cousin.
Right on.
But he plays blindside, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
So
good pick.
Yeah.
Especially
need
with
Jimmy
blindside.
G some protection. So
Yeah. Last pick we're going to get really in depth with, which is actually interesting because it's my home team. The Arizona Cardinals actually traded up from the 15th spot. They traded with Oakland. I don't know why Oakland made this trade. It was obviously the most high-profile trade at the day of the draft when it happened because the Cardinals traded one of the third-round picks. They had 2. Their 5th-round pick, and I think it may have just been the 5th and the 3rd pick.
I thought it was another,
maybe like a 7th or something like
that.
that.
It was a deeper pick, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, what they got in return, I wasn't initially happy with the pick. I'm still not terribly happy. I feel like Steve Keim was under a lot of pressure from both the front office and the Cardinals fan base to just go ahead and pick a quarterback. I don't think it was a now or never situation, but I think they could have traded up even further and gotten somebody like Baker Mayfield or even Sam Darnold. I'm not in love with Josh. Yeah. I'm not in love with Josh Rosen. I don't particularly like his attitude. And of course, after he was picked, the first thing he did was bitch about being picked 10th instead of the top 5. That's not what you want to hear.
No.
But yeah, I mean, you could do worse. The Cardinals, I feel they did better the rest of the draft in this first-round pick. It was a flashy pick, and it's something Cardinals fans haven't seen for a while, and I feel like it was something to appease the fan base because the last 2 years they've been slipping. Cardinals fans need a reason to buy tickets. So, I don't know. We'll see. The kid is good. He's got really good raw talent, but he's got attitude problems, and he's a little bit undersized. So that offensive line really wasn't taken care of in this draft either, which makes me worried because maybe they'll draft offensive linemen next year. I don't know.
Trying to find skill players and just make them work. I mean, fortunately for them, it has worked in the past with David Johnson. But you and Paige keep talking about, how, Kirk got picked in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
How the Cardinals really picked better in the later picks.
They always do.
And in the first pick, it's just either something flashy or something that's just like way off the wall.
Yeah.
I don't think Rosen is a bad pick here. I think it really depends on how he plays.
Yeah.
If he translates well, then good for him. He'll be like Richard Sherman, and he'll have the skills to back it up. Otherwise, he'll wash out and he'll be Manziel. So, it's one way or the other.
That's kind of my biggest fear is him just Manzielling it. So, yeah. What were some of your other favorite picks? I really love the pick, number 18, the Green Bay Packers picking up Jair Alexander. That offense is pretty well solid, despite the fact they lost Jordy Nelson in the offseason. They really needed a cornerback. The Packers really desperately needed a cornerback, and I think they got the 2nd best cornerback in the draft. Alexander's a great talent. The way that team is shaping up this year, they're definitely making a push. They want to push back against the Vikings this season. I think Jair Alexander is going to be a really good shutdown cornerback. He's going to help that defense. He's going to put Aaron Rodgers back on the field a lot, and it's going to be really good for them.
I think I had a lot of eyes on where the safeties were going to go because there's some good safety talent. And so Miami's pick with Minkah Fitzpatrick, and then Derwin James, I think, went way later than I anticipated with Los Angeles Chargers. So LA got a big talent, and he had a big grin on his face when he went up there.
Yeah.
I think Lattimore from the Saints was talking on Twitter the whole time about why he was baffled that Derwin James was still on the board 17 picks in or 16 picks in.
Yeah.
So I think that was a steal from the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There are a handful of players, but I think those two safeties in particular stick out in my mind.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go ahead and say Christian Kirk for the Arizona Cardinals in the second round. We're kind of going into the second round. We'll really look back in the first round. But that was the pick for the Cardinals I was really excited about because I feel like Christian Kirk is a first-round talent, and they desperately need some wide receivers. They're pretty much rebuilding that offense from the ground up, aside from Larry Fitzgerald and David Johnson and a few key pieces here and there. They pretty much decimated the entire wide receiver corps. Just got rid of everybody in the offseason. Christian Kirk is going to be a really good accent to Larry Fitzgerald, and it's a really good start to rebuilding that wide receiver corps.
So I think maybe we should wrap it up on Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking antsy. All the cameras couldn't stop cutting away to him. I personally don't think this is a bad pick for Baltimore. I mean, obviously he's going to sit for a little bit. I think he's going to learn. I think he needs to learn.
Yeah.
I think he throws ducks right now.
He overthrows a lot.
And I think he's just he's like a kid that has a natural talent, but you give him too much sugar and he's just like all over the place.
Yeah.
I think if he settles down and he finds his kind of home in the pocket and NFL speed, then he's going to be great.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's a big if.
I'm not. I mean, Paige, our friend Paige, she was really high on him. She was hoping he was going to follow the Cardinals. I think she was still quietly hoping that that Josh Rosen pick wasn't true and it was all a bad dream. I don't know. Lamar Jackson seems like one of those kids that's kind of like Jameis Winston, where you can see the talent there. It's really raw, though. I mean, it's going to be a situation where, he's going to learn that under Flacco, which is good because Flacco is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been there, done that. It's a good mentor for him. Kid needs a lot of work. He's maybe a step above a project QB, but I wouldn't have drafted him first round. I'm honestly surprised the Ravens traded up when they did to get him in the last pick of the first round. I don't know. We'll see. He seems like a great kid. I wish him all the best. But I don't know.
How long do you think Flacco's going to stick around, though? That's
another 2 or 3, maybe 4 years.
I would give him 2 at most.
Yeah.
I think he's probably talked to the front office a little bit, and he's kind of on his way out. I think you're right that Flacco's a good quarterback to teach him. I don't think Flacco's quite as good as a lot of people like to make him out to be. You
don't think he's hashtag elitist?
No, but I do think he's been in the league for long enough, and he's been in the league or been on a team that's had ups and downs on both extremes. So he is a great kind of great coach quarterback to play behind. So because he's going to be able to come off the field and say, this is what I did and this is why I did it.
Yeah.
And not miss a beat.
I'll say that about Josh Rosen as well. I'm if there's one upside, I'm very happy that he's going to be playing behind Sam Bradford. Say what you will about Sam Bradford, if the kid can stay upright, stay healthy, he's got a great arm. He's a good, solid quarterback. I've also heard he's a great locker room guy, and he's also incredibly humble. And he's been down in the dirt, down on his luck. Mm-hmm. If anybody can bring Rosen down and kind of smack some sense into him and kind of humble him up, it'd be Sam Bradford. So hopefully that's going to come to pass.
Yeah, these Cardinals aren't going to take it easy on the rookies. So
no, they never do.
They'll put his ego in check, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you're going to be doing OTAs in 95, 100-degree weather at 7 o'clock in the morning in September and August. So you're going to learn real quick.
Welcome to Arizona.
yeah. There's no egos when you're doing 2-a-days in 100-degree weather.
Nope.
No. So I think that wraps it up.
Yeah,
the first round. Again, we just did pretty much the first round of the NFL draft. We just kind of want to do a quick recap of, the most dramatic picks. If there's a pick you want to talk about that we didn't cover, or if we happen to miss your team for whatever reason, Patriots fans, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll respond to it. We've been trying to be really good about responding to all the different comments and whatnot. We have a blast doing it because, like always, this is a conversation, and we're doing this just because we love talking about football and all the other stuff we talk about, and we want to talk about it with you. So please jump in. Don't be shy.
Yeah, let us know what you think. There are a lot of good picks that we didn't talk about in even the first round. So I'm curious to see what kind of you think was the kind of standout pick, perhaps in the later picks of the first round? I'm curious, or even deeper into the draft, because obviously we followed it, but we're not going to talk about it here today because you can more easily probably pull up your standard news outlet. But
yeah, and if anybody says Shaquem Griffin, you'll get a like from the channel.
Yeah,
I'm very happy about that pick. I'm excited that kid's going to go and play with his brother. That's just really cool.
Incredible.
And I think we all need to get past the fact that he's got one hand, because the kid is just a dynamite talent. And he's shown it every step of his career. Like, he blew everybody out of the water at the combine. Like,
he had a really great show at the combine, yeah.
Yeah, once we get past the fact, the hype about him only having one hand, and we just see him as being a really solid pro-ready talent, I think it's going to be good times, smooth sailing for him.
DT, on the other hand, is going to have to get past the fact that he's a Seahawk. So.
I'm gonna still low-key root for the kid because he seems like a great kid. I've been to CenturyLink. I've got a Russell Wilson poster on the office wall. I've got a Seahawks jersey from when I visited Seattle. I don't actively hate any team or any fan base.
But
division, yeah. So, yeah. I still love Marshawn Lynch, even though he was a Seahawk and now he was a Raider.
Yeah.
Still love the dude, so.
Beast mode.
Beast mode, yeah. So, cheers. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Cheers.
And we'll catch you next time. Yeah.